What up, Bucs fans? This is Michael Plus from Real Bucs Talk. We are live. It is just currently me solo right now. Mark is going to be joining us here in a few minutes. But welcome in. Welcome to a Monday. It's a great Monday, a live stream here, and it's post-draft. So we just started with the 2023 or finished the 2023 NFL draft. Sorry, trying to get my thoughts together. But welcome in and appreciate you guys joining us. Bring all your questions. What's your thoughts of this draft? Flash Gordon talking about the future is coming. Definitely. It was a draft where if you guys joined us on our draft show, I think it was Thursday, it was very intriguing and interesting, just and surprising to see Kalijah Cansey, the first round pick. A lot of us didn't think they would take a player like that, but I think it shows that the Buccaneers are changing their philosophy and their philosophy of how they approach defense and really putting importance on pass rush and putting importance on speed, athletic ability, and really changing the narratives of how they've drafted in the past and before. So I think that's a really good sign showing that they are adapting to what the NFL is today. And that is you have to find ways to get quick interior pressure. You have to find ways to, affect the quarterback as soon as you can. So again, thank you all for joining us. Be sure to hit that like button. And again, bring your comments, bring your questions. What do you think of this draft? How did you feel it went? Do you think these were the right picks? Are you fans of certain ones or who you not fan of? Overall, I thought it was a pretty good draft. Day three, the picks were not the flashiest, but again, it was more built for special teams like Dennis, the linebacker out of Pittsburgh. Again, good special teamer, can provide depth. Payne Durham, probably going to be a tight end 2 or tight end 3 at minimum, which is good. Good blocker, good red zone target, guy that can come in and catch the football. You look at, I think it was the other draft, the corner, and let's bring up their draft real quick. Here it is. Kalijah Cansey, again, really good pass rusher. Again, smaller in size. He is like first percentile in a lot of categories when it comes to height and weight. And length as well. But you see the production. I mean, 14 and a half sacks, 20 and a half or 27 and a half tackles for loss in the last 2 seasons. Cody Mauch, a really good run blocker, effective in the way he gets downfield and finds ways to, he doesn't miss, like especially elite in space. And I think that is something that the Buccaneers want. They're going to run a lot of wide zone scheme run plays, and he fits that to a T because of his athleticism, but also just a mauler and likes to finish, really good. So that was, a fun pick, and you kind of saw that pick coming. It's a very Jason Light, pick, as Darius Miller says, let Light cook. He definitely did that. Yaya Diaby, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but he's, again, another guy that is maybe a late bloomer, 9 sacks last year, and really his biggest year of production. And they didn't utilize him as a true edge rusher. Didn't really get a lot of true pass rushing opportunities. And again, put up 9 sacks where he did a lot of dirty work and did a lot of good things. You look at Dennis out of Pittsburgh, 94 tackles, 7 sacks. So again, he's another one that can blitz, get downhill, affect plays that way, very quick, and shows burst as far as a player going downhill. Going backwards as far as coverage, that's something that he'll have to prove that he can do. And then Payne Durham, again, I like him. I like him as a blocker, as a big target in the middle of the field or in the red zone. I think he'll do well. Josh Hayes was a little bit tricky for me. I don't know how he's going to project to the next level. He could be another MJ Stewart, in my opinion. Again, not the most fluid athlete, but he's physical. He knows how to make tackles and come downhill. knows how to blitz well. So we'll see what they do with him. I think they're going to start him inside, but we'll see what happens. Trey Palmer, you always want to add speed, and I think he's a guy that can, definitely give you something downfield, and that's always a good sign. And then Jose Ramirez, I think, could really be a steal. I mean, 12 sacks last year. Again, limited against lesser competition, but his pass rush arsenal is already there, and that's something you can build off of. So that's really cool to see. So let's get into, just your thoughts. Flash Gordon here with Ed Oliver. Yeah. Ed Oliver is similar to Kalijah Kancey. I think Ed Oliver is a little bit, stronger, a little bit bigger, but not as fast as Kalijah Kancey, like you said. So a little bit different in those variables, but yeah, I can see some similarities. Kalijah, a lot of John Randall. Yeah, I think that's high praise. We hope he can be that, but we have to find out and wait and see. Darius Miller, and almost every mock draft I started leaning towards Yaya in later rounds. I think he's going to be a hidden gem. Yeah, I like Yaya. I think, watching his tape and really watching breakdowns of, what other people have talked about him, you can see that he's a player that did a lot of dirty work for Louisville and their defense, playing a lot of 4-eye and 5 tech, where he took on a lot of double teams. He took on blockers in the run game and was pretty effective, and especially on stunts, and doesn't really have a rush plan yet, but I think he can be someone that obviously will develop and get better. And it'll be intriguing to see, how he does in a true pass rushing opportunity as an edge in this defense. So Flash Gordon, Cody Mauch is a redshirt season guy at bottom. He might surprise. Certainly, yeah, he's definitely sophisticated in the run game. And pass protection is definitely something that he's going to have to prove, but we'll see. I mean, hopefully he can, progress and become a starter at one of the guard positions. I think that's ideal for them. But we also have other guards that you have to look at, Robert Hainsey, Nick Leverett, Luke Gedeke, if he's going to get a chance to start at guard or if he's going to stay at right tackle. They did bring in Matt Feeler as well. So a lot of competition there at the guard spot. That will be definitely a position to watch. X1K says, I would have liked a young DB corner safety in the higher rounds. Yeah, I think they could have went with a, defensive backs maybe in the second round instead of the guard. I think that's one of the switches you probably could have seen. I mean, when looking at this draft class, I mean, did they really need another guard? Just maybe they think lesser of what they have and they thought they needed an upgrade there. So yeah, I mean, definitely I could have saw that. I would have liked like a Sidney Brown or maybe one of those other guys that were available. I know Cam Smith was available at 48. He went to Miami. I think he would have been a good fit, play inside or outside. Flash Gordon again, Cody Mauch also showed quick learning and instincts in the Senior Bowl. Yeah, I think he's definitely on the right track, and that's always a good sign. So we'll just have to see. But yeah, again, appreciate all the comments and support. Be sure to hit that like button to help support us and bring your questions. If any of you guys have questions, again, Mark will be in here shortly. And sorry for the late start, but yeah, I mean, overall, I like the draft. I mean, Kalijah Kancey, I think when you look at what he brings to this defensive line, and definitely need you definitely need that interior pass rush, right? And you look at, Cody Mauch, again, potential starter, offensive line where you want to run the football, and that's what he does best. He's a really good run blocker, so that makes a lot of sense. And then Yaya from Louisville can't have enough edge rushers or, guys in the front seven. So adding to that, and then getting some good depth pieces and Dennis at linebacker who can play special teams. I think that's key. Payne Durham can come in and help you block. Again, adds to the running game, but also adds to the red zone opportunities where he can catch the ball. And it's a good target for either quarterback. Josh Hayes, same thing, come in, play special teams if need be. Trey Palmer, again, adds speed and also a guy who can return as well. So maybe that could help you. Jose Ramirez, I like him. I like him a lot. Brings in pass rush ability, and that's always something you want in bunches. But also, I mean, the Buccaneers added some gems in the undrafted free agents. So I'm going to try to bring up that as well. Undrafted free agents. And I see Mark is back, so I'll get him back in here. And Mark, welcome to the stream. Welcome to Real Bucs Talk. Talk to the good people. We got a lot of people here in the chat. I think Darius Miller brought up a good point, so I'll let you talk about that. Start things off. I'm trying to bring up the free agent signings for the Bucs.
Yeah, but overall, I'm happy they put an emphasis on bringing pass rushers in. They have never done that, and they actually did that. They got 3 of them in this draft alone. Yeah, and then bringing up Shaq's injury, he says he's going to be ready for week 1, but we're going to find out shortly, right? Or not shortly, but in due time. And what's funny is that Jose Ramirez is getting comparisons to Shaq Barrett, smaller school guy, consistently in the backfield, like a massive array of pass rush moves already. Even though it's against small school, still you're putting technique on the film, and people are reading that, and that's why he ended up being drafted. So really like all the picks, honestly, for pass rush capability. I mean, you have the one dominant guy in Vita Vea, you're going to try and build around him. If you can have Kalijah Cansey turn into a guy, like people were saying the Batman and Robin thing, if you have 2 Batmans and then 2 Robins, that's pretty insane. So by 2, I mean like Kalijah Cansey, Vita Vea is your Batmans, and then JTS, Shaq, Yaya Diaby, any one of those are Robins. I mean, if you can get a rotational aspect of those guys, that's insane. So pass rush wise, I was very happy with the product of that. That was the draft.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of Shaq Barrett, let's take this time to just wish his family, our thoughts and prayers, because that was a very tragic thing that happened over the weekend. Him losing his daughter, who drowned in the pool. Just awful to hear that. You never want to lose a child, especially at that age, that young. Yeah, it's just awful to see, awful to hear, and our thoughts and prayers are with him at this time and his family. So, and everyone in the chat, if you guys could, we really appreciate it if you can just leave a comment, just wishing Shaq, the best, or anything that you guys want to say. Feel free to let us hear it.
Yeah, I mean, 2 years old, way too small, and like what's crazy is I have a 2-year-old as well, and we're at his swimming lesson when that stuff happened. It was like 9:30 on Sunday. It happened, and that's crazy if you think about it. And just you only can imagine what is going through his mind already. He's already dealing with his injury, trying to recover, and then all of a sudden this happens, another massive life blow. But yeah, all you can do is pray for him, and
Yeah, for sure.
just give them the best you can. But I mean, other than that, draft wise, yeah, the pass rushers I liked. I know a lot of people didn't like the Cody Mauch. I know some did, especially in our chat. But what is the consensus? What does everyone think about Cody Mauch?
Yeah, I mean, there's a draft class again, so we can bring it up. But yeah, I mean, I talked about it. Cody, I think you get an elite run blocker. I think that's really what you're looking for, especially in space. And he also brings a guy that can help you with this scheme. He fits the scheme very well. And so again, a lot of these guys that they brought in, I like it because it fits the scheme, and they also showed well doing what they're going to ask these guys to do as far as scheme and versatility, and you're adding more athletes to the field. So that's always a good thing. Yeah, I like it overall. The draft class obviously starts with Kalijah Cansey. That's the big piece. But the rest of it, I think it's a lot of good fits that could be, like you said, at the worst case scenario, solid role players for your team. And you always need those.
Yeah, like a bunch of Robins, right? We kind of mentioned it. But also speaking of Cody Mauch, and everyone's assuming he's going to be a guard. right? He mentioned that, and that Gedeke could be getting the right tackle position. And then you see today on not see, but here on the radio, let's bring that up. I guess today Jason Light talked on the radio, and he was talking about how it's not etched in stone that Tristan Wirfs is moving over to left tackle from right tackle. So
Mm-hmm.
more thinking, what could this be? Could we be getting a free agent? Are we just gonna stick with whatever the hell we have right now, which hopefully not? There's not much of a good player at left tackle right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they're assuming that. But what were the two comments that your two guys you were mentioning of left tackle for the Buccaneers?
Yeah, left tackle. I mean, if it's not Tristan Wirfs, then maybe they look at a veteran where it could be maybe Isaiah Wynn, or maybe they think about reuniting Donovan Smith back here and bringing him in. So yeah, I mean, I think that's probably just GM talk, and I'm pretty sure Tristan Wirfs is going to the left side. That's their best option. It's their best in-house option. Um, but you never know. I mean, it's the long off season, so they could add to that group for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, but like saw where'd you put it? About how Canales' new system is more. Here we go. Mox
Mhm.
Pick is going to fit in the Canales system or scheme. He has to have athletic linemen that get
Yeah.
out in space, that attack, they go to the whistle or pass the whistle a little bit. Mock fits that MO. So does Jensen. As someone over here was saying, or Flash Gordon was saying, I'd put Hainsey at offensive tackle. That's another thing. Gedeke and Hainsey both played right tackle in college.
Mhm.
Hainsey's been playing center pretty damn well last season. He played guard in a pinch, but I mean, it's going to be weird what they do, because I know that's why a lot of people didn't like the Cody Mauch pick, because they wanted a tackle,
Mhm.
almost force feeding it. And I think if you listen to some of the press conferences after the draft, not just from Jason Light, but who's the other guy?
John Spytek.
Tech.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, we're not going to force a tackle pick when it could be like the seventh best tackle, but we
Mhm.
have guys that are way higher rated at like first round grades, but then we have to take a fourth round grade tackle. Why would we
Mhm.
do that just based off of need? And that's something I'm very happy they didn't do. I did a
Right.
video on the Bucs only picking based off of need, and it's not a good situation to do. I mean, if it matches the caliber player, yeah, but you don't force feed something. I mean, they were down
Yeah.
to Anton
Harrison.
Harrison, which I know a lot of people liked. But even when we did the live
Mhm.
review, he's just very raw, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's why they took Kalijah Cansey, because you look at Cansey and he was just much higher on their board, so it made a lot of sense to do so.
All right, plus I'm gonna have to break it off again, but I'll be right back.
Okay, no worries.
Take
No
control of
worries.
the reins.
Okay. Um, so like we were saying there, here, I'll remove you. Yeah. So there we go. So like I like I was talking about with Kalijah Cansey, and it's a good point. You bring up Anton Harrison there. You're sitting there at 19. You have a choice of probably either him or Kalijah, and they felt Kalijah was the better player. So I think that's why you went with him, and it helps you bolster your defensive line. It also helps bolster your ability to get after the quarterback. So I think that was very important. And yeah, let's talk about Mark. Yeah, Mark is a busy man. He's got a family to take care of. So the 2-year-old is definitely not going to bed right now, and that is the issue. So, but again, appreciate all you guys' comments. Keep it coming. Darius Miller again, not to jump the gun, but what are some positions or you guys would like the team to bring in the second phase of free agency? Yeah, that's a good question. I think they're obviously going to look at a veteran quarterback to bring in, someone that probably not going to win the job, but yeah, he is a good dad for sure. He's one of the best dads. Um, but yeah, definitely look at veteran quarterback. They are going to, I think, still look at offensive line. I think that could be a position. I think receiver could be in play, even though they did sign a lot of undrafted receivers. Um, So yeah, there could be Bridgewater, I think, could be a possibility at quarterback. I really think Trevor Siemian though is probably most likely, just because he's a guy that has started games, but also he's gonna play his role. Like he's not gonna be a threat to Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask in that competition. I think also you could look at veteran nickel guys that could come in and play the slot. I think Logan Ryan could still be a possibility for this team to help out there. I would say corner safety still in the mix to look for a veteran that can come in and play the nickel position. Again, they could still stay young and go with what they have and trot out D Delaney there at nickel, or Isaiah McCollum, or whoever. They could definitely do that for sure. So yeah, that will be, I think those positions, that will be something to look at. And let me bring this back up here because I wanted to go into the undrafted, free agents, because those are important. And you start at the top here. Sean Tucker, I think that was a huge, huge addition. You see his stats, really good numbers. And the reason he went undrafted is because he does have a heart condition. So that is something to monitor, but it looks like he was cleared with that. So obviously the Bucs trust their doctors and feel, that it's going to be okay. But I think he'll make the team. Like Sean Tucker, I think is a lock to be, running back 4 or in that mix. So that's awesome. I think he'll be someone to watch in preseason for sure. Look at some other guys running bound. Now, this guy here, Raheem Jarrett, a lot of people think he is going to make the team as, the latest projection I've seen from like Evan Winter. I know it did a depth chart. So that's a guy to keep a look out for. And they brought in some other receivers, as you see, Tay Barber, again, a lot of good production. Cade Warner, the popular name, he's the son of Kurt Warner. So it'll be intriguing to see if he can do anything, out there. So again, tight ends, they brought in Chris Murray at center, he was supposed to be rated pretty well. So again, there's a lot of good names here that could be, Luke Haggard, an offensive tackle. He could make the team. He showed good at Indiana. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting names. Jeremy Banks has a good chance of maybe beating out our 5th round pick. There it is. TYT says Banks. If I can get that in there. Yeah, Banks is a big name. So that is cool. So that is something to look at. It'll be a competition, especially at linebacker. Let's see. What else? Yeah, Bucs Game Day. I'm using Bucs Game Day. Thank you. Yeah, Bucs Banner. You know all about it. It is a great source for Bucs content. So we appreciate that. Yeah, definitely. And this is a great article because it has all the guys listed, here. So this is another one. The guy from Rutgers, Christian Isian. I think that's how you say it. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but again, he's super athletic, has a chance to make the roster as a safety. And then Kayvon Merriweather, again, another good safety. So guys like that, you could see, making this team. But I think the gym obviously is the one at the top, and that is Sean Tucker, who, again, just a really good running back and could be, definitely a chance to even be the RB2 for this team. David Wash, any OT? Yeah, I think let me bring him back up here, David. But I do think Luke Haggard, I think it was from Indiana. Let's see if it load here. Yeah, here you go, right here. So this guy here, I think, has a really good chance. Let me see if I can zoom that in for you guys so you can see it a little bit better. You're probably like, I can't see. So there it is. Yeah, I think Luke Haggard out of Indiana, again, good size, 6'6". I think he's got a good chance of making the team. TYT talks about Ronnie Brown. Yeah, I mean, again, he's interesting. Again, Division II, but put up a lot of good numbers, a lot of good stats. So yeah, they brought in a lot of good talent, and I think again, only a few of these guys are going to make the team. It happens every year where undrafted guys come in and they find a way to get on the roster. So that's what makes training camp fun. It's going to be a lot of fun to see what the positions battles are going to be. But when you look at it and looking at this draft, I think obviously there's going to be competition everywhere, and that's a great thing. Obviously, competition at offensive line, competition at running back, receiver. You're going to have competition at the quarterback position, which is huge, probably the big storyline going into this offseason. So that will be, that'll be something to look at. And so overall, I like the direction of this team. I like that they got younger, they got faster. Will they be better? We don't know yet. I mean, it's time will tell. Will they be a team that can figure it out offensively and do enough where they can sneak out wins and find a way to, get to 8, 9, maybe 10 wins? A lot has to happen. A lot has to take place. Obviously, you got to stay healthy and you got to have production from the quarterback position. Your offensive line's got to produce and do better. So, but right now, looking at the roster, I'm excited to see where it goes because you got a lot of young talent, and definitely got faster. And I think that was the key. And when you look at the draft class, that is what they wanted to do. A lot of athletes, a lot of guys that are physical. So that's always a good thing. So again, let us know what you guys, think of the draft and how did you see it shaking out? And, was this what you expected or did you expect something totally different? Personally, I did not expect them to go this direction, especially at the first round. The first round was a shock for me, but it was awesome to see that. Darius Miller says this is Todd Bowles' first official bite at the apple, so I guess we'll see how good of an eye for talent he has. Yeah, I mean, it pretty much is. It's his first true offseason where he was in charge, and I think a lot of the moves he's done so far, given the resources that they had, I think they did really well. Ken Barrett, good to see you. If you're watching this video and you aren't subscribed, I'll find yes. Yeah, so be sure to subscribe. Listen to Ken. He's always saying good stuff. Hit that like button. Appreciate all the questions. Keep it coming and subscribe. Help us out. So much appreciated. Ken Barrett talking about the first live, the first round live was really cool. Yeah, it was. It was. I was shocked when Ken did read that. I was like, Kalijah Cansey. I was like, what? I was like, what? Say again. It was a good thing, obviously a good thing because it's showing that Todd Bowles and this staff are changing their ways. They're finding ways to be more dynamic up front, and especially if Logan Hall can make that jump and be a guy that we can count on as far as being able to stop the run, being able to affect the quarterback and add more athleticism. And I think they're going to utilize him as that Will Golston type of role. If he can fill that and be a guy where you can play him alongside Vita Vea and also Kalijah Cansey, that adds a lot of dynamic to your defensive front. And then you add in Shaq Barrett and Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. That's, that is good, especially. And then, you have your developmental pass rushers and Yaya Diaby. And I'm probably saying, I can't believe, I don't think I'm saying that right, guys. Help me out with the pronunciation. And then Jose Ramirez, guy that already knows how to rush the passer. You add him in here. I think that's a lot of fun, and that should be good. Good to see. Ken Barrett. Yeah, I really want this marriage of Light Bowles and Canales to work. It won't come to fruition this year, but hope they just show like Ted Lasso what's going on and it's working and will work long term. Yeah, that is a great point. I really want it to work. I think Dave Canales, will work. I think he's a good fit. I think he's a good I think he will be a good offense coordinator. and he just knows the scheme, he knows football, and he knows how to explain it well. And I think the offense will be the surprise, especially to start the year. Me and Mark have talked about that, how this offense can surprise people early on. It will be up to Canales. Can he make the adjustments to help this team be better in the second half of the season? So that will be it. And bring Mark back in here. Hopefully the boy is asleep this time. Hopefully he stays asleep, and we can, finish up the show here. And I think with that said, Mark, let's just go right into the game tape if we can, and start showing some, things that we like. Obviously, we're going to show some Kalijah Cansey. I think we got Cody Mauch in there as well. Maybe some Jose Ramirez. Go to the garage, Mark.
I'm gonna have to eventually go to the garage because this is getting ridiculous.
Yep. And Ken Barrett continues to talk about the marriage. 10+ wins, the playoff berth. I think it definitely can. But with that said, let's dive into the tape here. And we got Kalijah Cansey, I think, right there in the middle, I want to say. Or no, he's over there. Sorry, to the left.
He's kind of in the middle.
But as you see, again, in that 3-tech position, you can see the disruption that he can cause. Again, he knows how to utilize his size. He knows how to win, and he knows what will work for him. So again, using this swim move here to get through, continue to balance, and then get effect on the quarterback. That's really nice.
And what everyone knows about him, he's quick, he's fast. That's where he gets the Aaron Donald comparison. He's also comparison in look how aggressive his hands are, hand usage is. Hands off of me, even though he got hit in the face. This guy's gonna get an arm on him, but ends up getting skinny, using the back of the center to continue driving forward. He's only 6'1", so he's got leverage on his side, but just keeping those legs moving, getting through the trash, and then getting after the quarterback right there. Just misses a sack. Good quarterback there, getting rid of the ball. You want to touch on a little bit more?
No, I think you covered it. And again, like Bucs Banter said, just insane agility for a defensive lineman. And he was, again, top percentile for athleticism at his position. Again, 4.67 speed, great 10-yard split, 3-cone, all of it. He has it. The only thing he doesn't have is he lacks the size, but he finds ways to make up for it because he has excellent technique and he knows how to get after it.
No, so I put this one in there. Look where they used him at. They put him wide, outside, rushing as a defensive end. This is the way that I think Todd Bowles and this defense is going to use him. Don't just use him flat out right next to Vita Vea. Move him around, especially on early downs. If he's not the best run blocker, don't force him to be. Get him outside where he's still a 4.67 guy. That's still pretty damn fast for a guy who's 280 pounds. And then he's coming inside, disrupting stuff. Imagine the beneficiary of like a Vita Vea coming around in a stunt. Or dare I say, like Logan Hall, JTS, anyone's going around in that. And look, he's already in the face of the quarterback. He's right there disrupting the throw. Look where the throw ends up. Way overthrown because there's no chance he can step into this because who's in there making all the trash go back? Look at that. The drive, the leg drive, and still gets a hit on the quarterback. Break it down.
Yeah, it's very enticing. It allows you to do so much. And I think this is, like you said, why they made this selection, because you add versatility where he can line up anywhere across the defensive front and find ways to affect the quarterback. And that's something you want to do. If not, then he's helping out his teammates to affect the quarterback. So it's a win-win situation for the Buccaneers.
Win-win. And this is something he wins consistently of. Speaking of win, look at the size difference, though, between the two. Yes, it's glaring. But initially, Wins pops him up, stands him up, and then just swims right over him. Nasty. Like, amazing technique, quick hands, powerful, and then he's almost throwing him to the ground here. Push-pull, I'm swimming over. I'm all day. This guy is crapping his pants right here. I'm going right after you. So, I mean, that's an elite move, strength, quickness, everything on display there.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, he's not going to have to worry about leverage. He's going to have leverage pretty much most of the time. And he knows how to win, especially when he's in a one-on-one matchup. And this is something that this is something that he might struggle at the next level just because he doesn't have the length to get off blocks, but he is so fast and so disruptive with his first step that it helps him alleviate that problem where you don't see it as much.
Yeah, so that was Elijah Canty. Let me actually bring us, if I can find our faces again. There we go.
Mm,
Bring us
yeah.
back up. So mainly, I just wanted to show how he can be used on the outside, inside, against the run. Yeah, no one's going to ask him to consistently stand up
Yeah.
against centers and guards and get double teamed. Like Ken Barrett just said, chess piece, baby. 2 queens on a board to move around the board. So,
Mm,
yeah, imagine him starting first down, second down, outside, and then third down, they drive him in against a center or guard. There was like, wait, wasn't that guy over there? Like, he's not
mhm,
supposed to be over here.
yeah.
The things of standing guys up. He looks like a linebacker at times. Like that, he has the speed of one, and then at times his pursuit is like a linebacker. So you, yeah, it's just you got a very different player that we haven't normally seen here in Tampa for a while.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be afraid of it. We wanted the Ed Olivers of the world, but now we got a guy like it. Can we use him correctly? Right. And the only other issue I have, yeah, the arm length is really small. He's like barely 30 and some change.
Yeah. I mean,
Aaron
again,
Donald,
yeah,
Aaron Donald's
he's
32.
the he's the first percentile in his size, weight, and length. And that's not a good thing. You want to be, 99th percentile, but he's the first in a lot of those categories. So he's an outlier. He's a true outlier. And Bucks Banter says here, cool thing when you're diving in on tape with Cansey, you'll be able to see the linebacker Servaka. I don't know how to say his name. I think
Ravassier?
it's Servassier. Yeah, Servassier Dennis. Servassier Dennis. Yes. And he's another guy that can get downhill.
Servaka. That's about right.
Well, I've been saying Yaya. I think it's how do you say his last name? Yaya Diaby or
Diaby,
Diaby? Okay. All right.
right?
I
Right,
think
guys?
so. I think. I don't know. I don't know.
No,
I
but
would, yeah, it took us forever to figure out Luke Gidicky's name. So
people
we're
got all pissed off.
we're working on it.
I mean, a huge like chess piece to use them all around. The thing is, everyone wants comparisons. It's hard. You can't give an Aaron Donald, even though that's the most close comparison. So people, Jason Light said John Randall.
That's
That would
high
be
praise.
that'd be a
Yeah.
hell of a comparison. I don't think he's as stocky as Randall was. Like
Yeah.
he's literally almost like Ed Oliver.
Yeah.
Maybe
Flash Gordon brought up Ed Oliver as well, but Ed Oliver is a little bit bigger, a little bit longer as well, but he's not as advanced as a pass rusher
no,
as Kalijah Cansey is. So Kalijah is already more advanced coming out into the league where, hopefully the you see him get better as far as technique and pass rush and all those things continue to improve. He's already so advanced, technically wise. So that's a good thing. It's just, can he be consistent as far as being a 3-down player? And that's something you have to look at. Can he hold up, in the run game? Can he hold up being pretty much an all situational player? I think that's what you look at. That's where it makes it challenging. You have to make sure you put him in the right spots where he can succeed consistently.
yeah. So I'm looking at Ed Oliver right now. He was 6'2", 287 with
Yeah.
31 3/4 arms.
Yeah.
So we're talking 6'1", 280 and 30 3/4 arms, I think it was.
30 inch. Yep.
I mean, it's a kind of comparable person, like very, very comparable. 1 inch,
Mhm.
3 and everything, and then 6 pounds.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the same guy. I mean, if he
Yeah.
takes a huge chug of water, he's probably there.
Yeah. John Ledyard talked about him being comparable to Draymond Jones, where again, Draymond Jones is a lot bigger, a lot taller, 6'5", but around the same weight, and also not as advanced as a pass rusher, but now is a pretty good pass rushing defensive tackle, where a lot of his money plays outweighs the negative where it comes in the run game where he's not as good. So I think that's what you're looking at Kalijah Cansey. Like his top dominant plays are going to outweigh the negatives. And I think you'll live with that because his ability to affect the quarterback so well, that's going to help you win games. And I think obviously that's the most important thing,
I mean, because a lot of people will put the negatives on it.
Mm,
Leverage wins, right? Low man wins.
Yeah.
If you get a guy, especially a guard or center, if you put them inside, they're slower. They're just bigger, stockier, can absorb power. This guy has power, but he's also quick at the same time. So if you make a lateral move and this guy's reaching, the guard or center's reaching, he can
Mhm.
get into that space immediately. So imagine if they go to reach and Vita Vea is stunting and just devours them. It's insane the capabilities this defensive line can give you.
Mhm.
I mean, another real small guy I always think of, he's not a defensive tackle, but Elvis Dumerville. It's another
Mhm.
5'11", like
Yeah.
270 pounds or 260 something pounds.
Yeah.
It's just smaller guys that know how to pass rush. I like the feel he has for the game more
Mhm.
than anything because Ed Oliver was just raw. He was
Yeah.
like a dog, can just push you over and keep moving. He didn't really have
Mhm.
pass rush moves.
Right.
He was 9th overall. We
Yeah.
got him at 19. So
Yeah.
to me,
Yeah.
it's justifiable.
Yeah, definitely. Bucks Banter asks, what do you expect to see from Logan Hall? Hopefully improvement, become
Anything?
anything. Hopefully become a playable player this year because last year he was unplayable. So hopefully he becomes a guy that, can get on the field and be consistent and do his job and obviously add, pass rush ability because ideally you would want him on the field, you want Vita Vea on the field, and you want Kalijah Cansey on the field all at the same time to really create dynamic, uh, force up there and cause havoc and disruption. But that remains to be seen because you still have Greg Gaines who you brought in who could
Yep.
be a starter, and you still have DeAndre Sanat and others, Patrick O'Connor. All those guys are going to get an opportunity. And like Jeremy said, maybe Will Golston comes back. So yeah, it's a good thing. I like it overall. I mean, what we showed you from Kalijah there, a lot to like.
Yeah,
But
and this guy stands up better in the running game than Logan Hall does.
he
That's
does, and yeah, and I'm not saying he's bad against the run. Like he's pretty solid against the run. I think you just have to worry about the consistency of guys locking in on him and his short arms. He can't be able to get off blocks, stuff like that. Or he's trying to disrupt and he leaves gaps open, kind of similar to what we saw from Joe McCoy. He tries to disrupt, so you have to worry about some of those things, but obviously the philosophy has changed where they're prioritizing the pass, and that's what they should do. They should get after the quarterback because that's the biggest thing in this game.
and it's evident by this draft. And then
Yep.
another potential look at Yaya Diaby could, if he gains another 8-10 pounds, he's looking
Mhm.
like a defensive tackle, defensive end, like
Right.
kind of can play both, right? Like what's it like Michael Bennett when he was here.
Mhm.
Typical guy right there. Like he played both defensive tackle, defensive end. Kalijah Cansey could do the same thing.
Mhm.
And rush outside, rush inside. Diaby, he literally did that all at Louisville.
Yeah.
And then he just runs an incredible 10-yard split, 40-yard dash. And you're like, holy hell, he's not just a big guy with long arms.
Mhm.
He's got athleticism too. So I just, the way they can be multiple in that defensive line to help out, dare I say, Logan Hall get a little bit better based off competition, based off of
Mhm.
just iron sharpening iron. He can't be worse. I'll say that.
Yep.
Hopefully
Yeah.
his attitude's changed because I hated that. The second I heard some of the stuff he said coming out,
Yep.
this ain't a Buck. Again, what's funny is we drafted a whole bunch of captains.
Mhm.
Like we shade away from it the past 2 years. We're right back to it now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's I think we had a couple more plays we wanted to show. Let's go ahead and bring that back up here.
It was just the one of Jose Ramirez here.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go ahead and show it because Jose Ramirez is a guy that, I mean, to get him in the 6th round, especially being this advanced as a pass rusher, as you'll see here, we put this up on Twitter. But again, long arm, be able to disengage with his other arm, fight through, good balance, and then take on the running back as well, push him away, and then get the sack, force fumble. Really nice. I mean, this guy's already super developed as a pass rusher, has a lot of moves in his arsenal. Again, weaker competition, but the proof is in the pudding, right? He knows how to get to the quarterback.
What I like is it's so fluid, so natural. I mean,
Mhm.
he sees the running back coming here, but it doesn't mess with his running the arc, a perfect little arc around the tackle.
Yeah.
He knows it's coming. He literally was doubled and triple teamed in this game too. which is hilarious. And he just naturally gets through it. Okay, I know this guy's gonna be coming. Quick swim right in there, gets to the quarterback. Guys on his butt. This quarterback was not good. I'll be completely honest on that. But it doesn't matter. Look at the long arm, like you were saying. Initial engage, then he feels that arm coming. Let's pop that bad boy up so he can't get any leverage on me. I have full total control. I'm driving my legs, dropping him down. He's gone. I only have one other guy I have to beat. And that's the mentality, too. He knows he can win with speed. He knows he can turn that speed into power. And then the hand usage, that's a lot of stuff working in your advantage. Yeah, he's taken a huge step up with the level of play, but hell of an execution on that. Doesn't matter what level of play you're doing it at. If you're doing it at that high of a level, like consistently,
yeah,
you're gonna do some good damage in the NFL.
right. Yeah, absolutely. And we'll definitely try to put together more film of these guys. We'll try to do all the draft picks if we can, get film studies out there for you guys to, watch and obviously analyze and see what you guys think. We'll try to probably do it in order. So we'll get Kalijah Cansey up, and, obviously we show you a little bit of him earlier. And again, credit to Josh Capo for sharing those clips for us. Much appreciated to you from Pure Report. So that helps us out a bunch. But yeah, we'll definitely dive into more tape as we get going here. I did want to show, and speaking of tape, I'll bring this up myself and show you guys a little bit of Cody Mauch and what he brings. Again, this is just one play, but I want to show it. Let's see if it pops up here. Hopefully I can. Yeah. Let me rewind it for you. But you see him there, the left tackle. And again, his ability in space is just really good. Like this stuff he doesn't miss in open space. So he's always, on the move. And he knows how to move well. Like he's very athletic for his size, and he does a great job in the run game. And I think that is something that obviously they want to prioritize. They're going to run the football a lot this year, and getting a guy like that who could play left guard or be your right guard, that's huge. And putting him next to Ryan Jensen, I think is going to be a lot of fun, because obviously those guys, they run and they keep running and they finish. They know how to finish for sure. That's going to be a big treat for this offense.
And I don't think we've seen the end of the story of the offensive line just yet.
That remains to be seen.
We're assuming it's going to be Wirfs left tackle, some combination of Leverett and Hainsey left guard.
Yeah.
Jensen, most likely Mauch, and then Gedeke. But you never know. Like, it could be that. It could be not. I think it's telling that Canales' system is going to be what it is, and we're going to trick some people thinking something, and then something else is going to come happen. And that will help our offensive line. If you know what the hell's going on, you know with the timing of the play. So hopefully we got smart guys that know what the hell they're doing. But that's, other than that, offensive line play, it's kind of hard to say anything besides he's an athlete.
Yeah.
And he finishes the play.
Yep.
Other than that, like we got to show you more tape on that, and we don't have all the tape right now. But don't be upset about the pick. I know a lot of people want to tackle, don't reach. They did the thing. They got a guy that fits their mold. That hopefully, what if he's an Ali Marpet? I mean, I know it's high praise, but what if?
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy that was a former tight end, so he knows how to move. He's an athletic guy. Former tight end, put on a bunch of weight throughout his college career, and obviously became a very reliable left tackle. He was the offensive lineman of the year in that conference. So that's shows a lot to his determination, work ethic. And he's going to be a guy that you can count on. And, obviously just from the early reviews, like I said, he's elite in space. He is a very good run blocker, very good mover. It remains to be seen what he is in pass protection. That is something that we're going to have to dive into. They didn't have a lot of true passing sets. There's a lot of play action, a lot of movement, movement of the pocket where, he's isolated. So that is something we're going to have to look at. But overall, this class, I'm very excited about it. Obviously, the first 3 picks, I'm excited to see what they do. The only pick that I didn't understand was the Josh Hayes pick. I talked about him earlier. I think he's the MJ Stewart, but again, MJ Stewart in the 6th round, I think is a lot better than the 2nd round. And to credit to MJ Stewart, he's still in the league and he's still doing good things. So maybe that's what. Yeah, MJ Stewart's still in the league. He's still playing and doing positive things as a special teamer and also as a spot starter. Maybe that's what Josh Hayes becomes, and I think you would be happy with that.
Yeah, MJ Stewart was what, a 2nd round pick, high 2nd round pick.
Yeah, 2nd round pick, and this guy was in the 6th round. I think you'll take that, and adding Trey Palmer, again, another guy that adds speed. He can do kick returns, punt returns. That is something nice to have, and obviously you add pretty much a Scotty Miller-esque but bigger size, and maybe he can add more big playability.
Yeah, I think he was the fastest player in the draft, Trey Palmer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yep, 4.3 speed.
Getting that speed.
Yep, yeah, definitely a theme. And my favorite pick probably of day 3 is Payne Durham. I really like his game. I talked about him. I think he's going to be a really good tight end 2. I don't think he'll ever be a tight end 1, but being a tight end 2 where he can come in, block, catch the football, be a red zone target, do all the dirty work. I think it's going to open up a lot for Cade Otton, and I think that will be a good combo.
Yeah, I'm wondering what they do with that. I mean, now you got 2 big, stout guys that can block, and Keith.
Yeah, you still have O'Keefe,
right? But let's see how they use these guys. I want to talk more on. I don't know if you talked on him a lot, but where is he? There he is. Yaya Diaby.
Yeah,
the athletics and the size measurables for 6'3", 263, almost 34-inch arms, and massive hands. If you look at his shoulders too, like it just almost takes up the whole damn picture. The dude's like wide. He's like gonna take up a lot of space. That's why I was saying if he gains like 8 pounds, you're talking like a guy that can play both inside and outside. And you got him in the 3rd round.
Yeah,
look at this, 90 percentile in the athletic testing. 4.51, 1.56, 10-yard split. That's nuts. Like that, those are really crazy numbers. And he got 9 sacks last season. Everyone's worried about the 1-year wonder kind of thing. Well, they didn't even use him as a full-time edge rusher. They were just kind of contributing in like a 3-man front. He was playing 3-man, so and he got 9 sacks. That's pretty incredible, to be honest.
Yeah, and like I was saying earlier, he did a lot of like 4-eye 5-tech work where he was more inside than he was outside. He never really got true pass rushing opportunities. And for him to get 9 sacks like he did, that's just a credit to his game where he was really good on the stunts. He was really good on, moving the pocket or pushing back the pocket as far as power. And he reminds me a little bit, I think I heard someone else say this, reminds him of JPP a little bit and how he plays with power, long arms, and knows how to use this athletic ability to chase down plays, which is good. And I think he is someone that could be a developmental pass rusher down the road where you'll be very excited with what he brings you.
The only thing I don't see with him that JPP had was phenomenal. JPP was bendy. He was like Gumby. Like literally his body would keep moving, even though his head was like upside down or something like that. He would just keep awkwardly moving forward and you couldn't stop it.
Yeah, for sure.
Robbie's more linear. Like it's incredible he ran that fast. 4.5, 1.56, 10-yard split, jumps high. It's very just one way, right? Either up or straight. Like you got to be able to use that functionally too, like getting around someone, bending your body as your legs are still running fast forward. That's functional football. That's why, like years ago in CMC, Christian McCaffrey he benched like 225 twice or something like that. They're like, oh God, he's weak. Well, he never did bench. Like he's like, why should I train that when I don't really use that? It's just using functional speed. They get too hung up on these tests that make them money, but can you perform that on the field? And that's something that I think the Bucs want to see. They saw a little bit of on tape, then they see these measurables here, and they're like, holy shit. You can make that into something.
Yeah, definitely. I think, and obviously with bringing in George Edwards, the outside linebackers coach, I think that's going to be huge. Working with him and obviously Jose Ramirez and then JTS and all the other defensive ends. So when you look at Yaya, I think his biggest thing is going to be the pass rush plan. That is something that he's going to have to develop, because right now, a lot of his sacks, he was just winning because he was stronger or just faster. And that's something where he's just going to have to figure out where, okay, can I do a pull and rip or a dip and rip, swim, counters, all those things where you see Kalijah Cansey, he's already got all those bags of tricks. Jose Ramirez already has those bags of tricks where he can do it all. Maybe not the athlete that Diaby is, but he has that functional speed like you talk about, where he can get around the corner and do things, close quickly. So very impressed with those selections. And I talked a little bit about the undrafted free agents. Obviously, Sean Tucker is the big name. I think he's easily going to make the team. Could be RB2 for sure. So yeah, a lot of good stuff that they've done, and it's going to be a younger team. I think that's the biggest thing, and faster. That's all you want as you move forward and try to rebuild here a little bit.
I think we need to talk a little bit more about Sean Tucker. I mean, that guy was going to be like one of the top 5 running backs off the board, and then he gets this heart issue that someone said his career is probably over. You're like, what? Was it just like a reporter, or did a doctor say that? Right. And then now after the draft, he signs almost immediately with us, and we're like, wait, what? I remember watching film on this guy. Speed to burn. I mean, that's something that they did with every pick they made in this draft. And then they get one of the fastest guys right after. I think he tied Trey Palmer with his 40-yard dash, like 4.33. Insane. And we got 2 of those guys. So we got way faster, and hopefully you have your home run threat that could eventually win the job. And yeah, if you have him in there with Rachaad White, if speed, hopefully he can catch the ball a little bit. Rachaad White's, I think he's going to take a whole other next level here with the amount of carries he'll get and the way that they're going to use him, move things around.
Right.
He's got great vision, got enough twitch in him. Like, I think he's going to make a big step. But Sean Tucker, I think if you get Rachaad White getting the gritty yards and you get him in a little alleyway, I think you can see home run shots with him.
Yeah, for sure. And again, he's another guy that fits the system, right? He fits the scheme. He fits the wide zone scheme. That's something he did at Syracuse. Put up a lot of great numbers, put up touchdowns, made a lot of big plays. So I think with him, obviously the knocks were some consistency issues with catching the football, pass protection, and all those things are things that most running backs coming out of college have to develop. Not everyone's clean in that regard. So yeah, I think he's got a really good chance of making this team. And obviously you pair him up with Chase Edmonds, who can be that kind of Gio Bernard type role where he can be the veteran, the third down pass catcher, 2-minute drill, all those things. And Keyshawn Vaughn will get a bigger opportunity, and that'll be his competition. That'll be the big competition right there between him and Sean Tucker. So that will be very intriguing to watch and see how it plays out.
And then, I know some people were saying about Dame Payne Durham and stuff.
Yeah.
Looking at I just pulled it up. Nice. Looking at the depth chart from last year, yeah, we know K. Dotton can do some things. Does he take a massive step? Because realistically, our tight ends aren't loaded, and we don't have really loaded room.
Right.
It's going to be all.
It's very young. I mean, you have 2 second-year players, a rookie, and then between David Wells and Dominique Daphne, and then, some undrafted guys. But, yeah, very wide open.
Yeah, so, talk about younger. You mentioned that multiple times. Cam Brate was holding that up, right? He gone.
Yeah.
Now you got nothing but youth in the running back room. Very young team. Very, very young. And then you don't know who quarterback is, even though we're pretty much penciling in Baker.
Right.
You just don't truly know. It could be really young with Kyle Trask. It could be Baker Mayfield taking it and running with it. But there's a lot of question marks on offense, but there's still your cornerstones in Evans, Godwin, Russell Gage.
Right.
Chris Murph, they already have him here at left tackle. It's funny.
Yeah, that offensive line could be your starting line. You could have, like it is, left to right. That really could be your guys right there. Luke Gedeke at right tackle, and Cody Mauch at right guard. And yeah, that'll be definitely intriguing if that ends up being the case.
And then let's go down.
But one more thing on
But
the offensive line, that's super athletic. Like that's just a super athletic offensive line. And I think that's something that they want. Guys that can get out in space and attack in the run game and pass protection. I think you can find ways to hide that, hide the weaknesses.
it's going to be who plays right tackle.
Yeah.
That's literally the only thing. Because Tristan Wirfs, I'm confident if he does move to the left, he can take it over well.
Yeah.
He may not be the elite guy he's been at the right for so long. It may take a year to get accustomed to it, but I think he's that type of natural athlete that can make that switch.
Yeah.
Is Luke Gedeke going to be good enough? Or are they going to have to, as they were saying, use Matt Feeler?
Yeah, could use Matt Feeler at right tackle. You could use Brandon Walton at right tackle, who could be a guy there. So, yeah, there's options. And, yeah, I just like that they're going to have a very athletic group up front, and it's going to let them, do what they want to do offensively.
And what is good, all these tight ends are big and can block.
Yeah.
Helps a lot.
Yep, for sure.
Cam Brate, not so much. All right, so now the defense. This is where I think a majority of the additions were. Really, you only truly got one potential starter and
Right.
Kalijah Cansey. But looking at how this kind of looks for starting lineup now, Cansey, Vita Vea, Greg Gaines, and then JTS, Shaq when he gets healthy, that's a pretty formidable edge rushing or just front seven right there. And Devin White's, he's going to be here. Levante, that still our front seven is nasty. Touch on that with Yaya, Logan Hall, Sanat, like all these guys behind them as well.
Yeah, no, I think that's really good. I think, there's going to be competition like between Logan Hall and Kalijah, like, who's going to start, is it going to be one of them or both of them going to start? So that'll be intriguing to see. And then, yeah, the depth I think has improved with adding, even though it's young depth, but you're getting Anthony Nelson as a good depth piece. And then you bring in, Yaya and Jose Ramirez as well. I think that's good. And then, Servachier, how do you say it, Mark? Servachier, Dennis. Yeah, I think him, competing with KJ Britt, I think that is good. Add more speed to your linebacking group. But I think the one name to watch, and people brought this up too, is Jeremy Banks, the undrafted linebacker from Tennessee. He's someone that could beat out any of those guys and be a player. But yeah, a lot of changes, not much change up front, but I think just the added depth and obviously getting the big piece in Kalijah Cansey really helps the dynamics of this group. So I think that's going to help you out big time.
And this was an area of strength. I mean, our defense is our strength. We just needed pass rush. You get a guy that possibly one of the best interior pass rushers from the inside in the draft, and then Yaya Diaby adds to that. I'm just ready to see what Jose Ramirez can do. I mean, I've seen one game. I want to see a lot more. But, I mean, the guy's got ability, and I want to see it put to fruition. But he's got a steep competition. Anthony Nelson, Shaq Barrett. On the other side, Yaya's right there, and JTS. I mean, it's going to be hard to kind of make the team there.
Yeah.
I would assume they'd do it. But, yeah, there's no – the competition is Cam Gill. Can Jose Ramirez play special teams? Can he not?
Yeah, that's what it's going to come down to. And, moving to the secondary, I think that's where all the questions remain. It's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. Obviously that first four, I think is very solid with Jamel Dean, Ryan Neal, Antoine Winfield, and Carlton. But who's going to be your nickel? Who's going to be your top backup safety? That remains to, it'll be exciting for sure. We'll see what happens there.
And you only heard good things of Nolan Turner, even from like draft prospects talking him up. It's kind of cool because even your guys from years past kind of noticing, no, he was pretty damn good when we were there.
Yeah.
But the biggest, I guess, gaping hole now is who plays nickel. Do they keep relying on Winfield, which I hope they don't?
Right.
D. Delaney, I don't know if that's it, but Zion just way too big, not necessarily shifty enough. Is he smart enough in the scheme yet? I don't know. Or are you going to rely on a sixth round pick? You're like, that ain't going to happen, but you never know.
Yeah, and then you have a lot of undrafted guys too. Christian Izzian, I think, has a chance of making the team. Kayvon Merriweather, very good safety from Iowa. So yeah, I mean those positions are up for grabs. I think you could definitely see Logan Ryan come back. I would like that a lot. Bring him back in here as a third safety or even at nickel. So yeah, there's options, but it's definitely going to be different. You're going to have a different group out there, definitely younger depth wise as far as your back end. And you got to hope, your star guys don't get hurt for sure.
If they can bring back Logan Ryan, I'd be extremely happy.
Yeah.
That defense would be shored up like in a lot of spots.
Yeah, because Logan, he could come down and play nickel for you, or it would allow you to, if you need to move Antoine down there or even move Ryan Neal to the slot, I think that would help out tremendously.
I mean, to be honest, the holes that are there, they're not many.
Yeah.
And you have nickel corner for defense. Other than that, the starters are pretty much set.
Right. Agreed.
With depth behind them, you just don't have true stars besides Vita Vea, Devin White, Levante, potentially Shaq when he comes back. But everything else is sound. And then offensively, yeah, who the hell's your offensive line? And then your quarterback. If you don't have a quarterback, you have no one.
But, yeah. I mean, it's a roster that obviously has gotten much younger. You look at the guys that are over 30 years old on offense. You only have, I think, one, and that's Ryan Jensen. Everyone else is under 30. You look at the defense. The only guys over 30 is Levante and Shaq Barrett. So it's a much more younger group, more dynamic from that standpoint. And I think that's what Todd Bowles wanted. He wanted speed and he wanted guys that could be aggressive and physical, at the point of attack. And that's something that they have definitely made an emphasis, and I think they succeeded. But with that said, the roster is not completed. There's still a lot of moves to be made as we get closer to August and September. And I think you could definitely see more veterans come into play and be added for sure.
And it's fluid, like as you say, right? And we have Cade Warner.
Yeah.
Kurt Warner's son over here. Likely not going to make it, but you never know. Right? And then also the other undrafted guy, Raheem Jarrett, you were saying. A lot of people are saying good things of. We'll see. I mean, it's a very talented, deep team in certain areas, especially a wide receiver.
Yep.
It's going to be hard to make it, but I like what's happening. I like the direction. I just want to see what this offense looks like with a new, I guess, captain of the ship, directing it. I've been saying it's almost been an addition but from subtraction. Anything would have been better in Leftwich right now, which I still don't think he has a job.
No, he doesn't.
I think it's glaring why, but he needs to sit and learn for a year or so. But, I mean, we have our direction. I still think there's a couple holes that need to be filled, but nothing glaringly huge besides who the hell's your quarterback.
Yeah, definitely. And again, off season is going to ramp up here. We're going to see, more OTAs, more off season work. They're going to have rookie mini camp, I think, is coming up. So yeah, all those fun things. As more details start to leak, you start to hear more about the scheme. You start to hear more about, who's doing what or what positions are they playing. And it all gears up for training camp. It's going to be a very exciting training camp, much different from years past, because in the past couple of years, we haven't had a lot of questions. There hasn't been a lot of, glaring holes or anything of that nature. You pretty much had a set team. This year is going to look a little different, but you still have a very good core at the helm here that can, still win you ball games. And I think that's what's important. And you can still find a way to compete in a division where it also got younger across the board. And those teams, obviously Bryce Young coming to Carolina. So yeah, that it's going to be fun. And we got the schedule coming out next week, which will be great. We'll try to analyze that and should be a lot of fun. Finally get to figure out who we're playing. Is it going to be a 4-0 start or an 0-4 start? That's always what we look at. So yeah, I can't wait. Can't wait for it to get going. Can't wait for training camp to be here and see what these guys look like.
As I said, I think it's going to be a fun ride. And hey, get ready, buckle up. You never know what the hell it could be. It could be a fun random season like Seattle had last year, or it could be holy hell, we're in a rough ride for a while.
Well, I mean, either way, if it is a rough ride, it sets you up for a franchise quarterback, for the next draft, potentially. Or if you surprise and you win, you have an opportunity to continue to build and build on something and build this core and get even better. So yeah, that's exciting. So again, thank you to all of you guys who joined us. We went a little extra. I know we were late here to begin with, so we went a little bit longer for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the little film study that we did of Kalijah Cansey, also of Jose Ramirez and Cody Mauch a little bit. So hope you guys enjoyed it. And with that said, I think we're out of here. Be sure to hit that like button, comment, give us comments on the stream and what you guys want to see going forward. We're going to try to have all the draft class, all the prospect videos up here, hopefully within the next couple of weeks, and we'll get all that going and you guys can comment on there and enjoy them. So, and subscribe. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. So with that said, I'm going to go hit the showers because my hair looks horrible. I'm going to get that cleaned up. And I hope all of you guys have a great night, and go Bucs as always.
Go Bucs.